Welcome back, everybody. It's Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of this fun little project that I've been working on, making snippet rolls and spools to put them on. This project was inspired by my diva sister, Julie J. So thank you, just so much inspiration. So first I want to talk about the spools. This one, you can see, this one is 6 inches diameter, the circle. And I made this one bigger because I wanted to put my snippet rolls that I made with all of the buttons on, and they tend to be, of course, really bulky. So I wasn't going to really be able to put them on the smaller spools. So that's why I wanted to try making a larger one. The inside part, the core, I'm calling it, is a little bit larger. Some of these are really skinny. Here I used a knob that I had. I have more of these, but I didn't want to use all of my pretty knobs on my snippet roll things, so I just used one knob on the larger one with this filigree plate. This is Tim Holtz paper that I used to cover it. So when I started, I covered this in gesso. I thought maybe I would paint it, and I thought about doing some texture paste or something on it. I didn't go that way. I decided to just use some pretty paper on it. So that's what I did, but I don't know. If I keep going with this, maybe I will try some texture paste or something. So that one was 6 inches. The rest of these are all 4 inches in diameter here. Now, if you don't have any of these rolls, other ideas that you can use for your inside core, of course, paper towel or toilet paper rolls, you would have to reinforce it with some cardstock or something. Those wrapping paper cores that are really thick, those are great. Something like if you have tape, sometimes it has these thicker cores in the middle. This is from Tulle, was on this. So just some ideas. Now normally these things come, and this part that goes on the ends usually can come off. So like these plastic parts, this one is plastic, and they pulled off. They're glued on here right now. I found that, and you'll see in the video when I do this one, I painted the whole entire thing. I actually found that it's easier to take it apart, wrap it with your paper, whatever you want to do, and then just glue it back together. But once you do paint or cover your core, then you can just get your circles that you want and just glue those pieces on top. Now for the circles, I found that it was easier to take because this is a thicker cardstock that's covering it. I found that it was easier to take my food packaging and each circle and cut them out separately and then glue them together, rather than taking your food packaging, covering it with paper, and then cutting your circles out. Because cutting with scissors through all those layers is really hard. So something else to keep in mind. So the next thing is the knobs. So I told you I used a real knob here. The rest of these are beads. These are pieces of jewelry. I have a spacer, huge spacer bead here that I found. And then these pieces are, you know, the wooden embellishments that you get, and I just painted them gold. Or the little filigree pieces you could always use. Another knob that I couldn't bring myself to use. But like here's another filigree piece that I rested. I had that in with my metal bits and pieces, and just large beads. And the good thing is if the hole is a little bit bigger, you can at least get it to lay flat so you can hot glue it down. So just some ideas to kind of play around with. If you don't have beads, oh my goodness, I was poking a hole with my huge push pin, and I thought even that could be a knob. Could glue that down. or a block. It doesn't have to be something that's round. It could be a block, or even if you have a pretty stone or something that you could glue it on there. Anything can be a knob. So I did a couple of different things. Some of these, the inside core I covered with paper. Some of them I painted. So just whatever, all different kinds of ideas to play around with here. I want to show you some of the snippet roll pieces that I put together here, and kind of look at these a little closer individually. Let's look at the big one first. So if you saw part 1 of this video, I showed these as examples of other snippet rolls that I did, and I love them. I think they're so pretty. I love the colors, but like I said, they're very bulky because they have lots of buttons and stuff on. So I'm going to take this off here, and we will just kind of look through. Now these are fabric. I just used a little piece of fabric, and then I layered the squares on top. So that's the other thing. I'm going to just share ideas, what you can do. And then to piece these together, I just used pins, little mini safety pins. I didn't want to sew them all together because these I actually did in strips that would be approximately the length of the edge of a page. And then here's some blue ones that I did. And then we are getting to kind of random ones in here. Now this, I can feel the back of it. Okay, let's see. So this one, I had a little piece of felt. So I've used a little piece of fabric, this one felt, and just added the squares of fabric on top and then embellished them. And then I really liked packing paper. It's easy to glue also because it's paper. So I used packing paper for some, and these, as you can see, are pretty plain, which is great because then I can just add embellishments, buttons, or whatever to kind of gear it towards my project, or add a little bit of colors to make it blend in with my project better, or focal points. Here's a purple one with lots of string and stuff. Now the rest of this is food packaging, and I had actually cut these into little pieces to make them into cluster pieces, but then I didn't use them, so I just kind of put them back together so that I could put them around here. So again, these are just fabric scraps, and I wanted some of these because I didn't want everything to have a focal point on. Okay, so now you can see that the core of this is actually pretty big. You can see there. And you can kind of see where I added my outside circle to the inside part. And then once we get her rolled up, I'm gonna just take a stick pin, just kind of put it down in there. And there we have number 1. The second one that I did, but this is just a bead, you know, jewelry findings here. So, and I painted the inside with my gold paint. I just kind of smeared some in there. So here are my snippet pieces. These are packing paper on the back. And then these packing paper, and I put a piece of fabric on. So these are a little bit longer focal points here. I'm working with these long ladies. Here we got the boy, another boy here. So these don't have any buttons or, you know, the embellishment pieces and things on. So see the inside core, see how skinny that is? So that's why I put this one on here, because it actually can wrap up pretty easily. It's not so bulky and it's thin. So this is number 2. The third one that I did, this was from an earring, a clip-on earring. I just thought it was really cool. So I've used that on here. Covered it with the paper. So let's look at these. Now these I did quite a bit of layers and embellishing. So this is all on a piece of fabric here. And we've got the photos. I'll also put all the links for the focal points. They're all from Art House Whimsy. You can see here I stamped some little tiny pieces and pinned on. So we've got different hearts and this one that says love. Okay, so these, we're moving on to another one, and see, I didn't want to sew them together, so I just pinned that. So now this is packing paper, and these are the ones that I did from the last video. See here, you can see here I have the little love clipped on there. And then that is back at the beginning. Also, if you take the pieces apart, that makes it a lot easier if you want to cover the outside and the inside of the circle and then glue them together. So these are going to be for my Valentine's Day makes. The last one I have here. Now these were just some of the boho pieces that I had sitting on my desk, and I thought, you know what, let me just go ahead and use those. So these don't have any focal points or anything. This is just a piece of burlap ribbon, and as you can see, I just sewed right down the middle. I got some double-sided sticky tape and put these little pieces on, and then I just went right down the middle. See, so the inside here, this is actually covered with paper, and then you can see I covered the inside and the outside of my circles, and I kind of thought that just looks better. That's why I was saying I figured out as I went to just take the whole thing apart and then glue it all back together. So now I'm going to go through the process video, and I will show you how I made these. Doing these with a focal point, it kind of took me a minute to figure out some kind of a formula. For example, these, I put a layer of lace down, and then I put my photos and kind of put these little pink pieces around each one. You'll see in the video. I put some pieces behind it, lay it down, and then some little things on top. Now, if you just want to make these without a focal point, you could take just the squares like I did in these. I think even if you did some that were, you know, maybe all creams and tans or something, I mean, we always use those colors. Or you could do some with pinks and reds and white for Valentine's Day coming up, or whatever. Just pick some colors and start putting them together. You can also do strips. So when I was putting together my clusters on the strips, I kind of realized that I liked, so for example, if I have this, you know, long strip, and then I would take some squares and go down, lay my focal point on top, and then just some little embellishment pieces on the side. So once you get going, you kind of figure out a formula to use depending on what it is that you're working with. Do you want to do strips? Do you want to do squares? Do you want focal points, or are you just laying down some fabric pieces? And also, if you have some ribbon that's frayed on the edges, these are so perfect for this kind of stuff. I start off the video making a few more of the cluster pieces, and then I get into making the spools. So let's get started.